What's up, Raider Nation? Back with another video. I'm gonna do a quick little week in review for our Raiders this week, and I want to kind of continue to do this. At towards the end of the week, I'll try to do it every Friday or Saturday, but just to touch on a couple things that we went through throughout the week. Any new players signed. Today we just signed Jonathan Hankins to a 1-year contract. I think that you know McDaniels and Ziegler want to, and maybe even Patrick Graham too. They just want to see where he fits in this defense, and they see his production with us in the past. So I thought it was a good, solid signing. We still need a little more depth at that defensive tackle position, and I like the pick, man. I'm a fan of Jonathan Hankins. I think that he's a great run stopper and an overall productive player, and I'm curious to see what he does in this defense. Another signing that we did was a quarterback, Nick Mullins, backup quarterback for the 49ers. I'm not mad at it. I think that there was a few other people that I kind of would have scratched my head. There was rumors that we had interest in Cam Newton. I'm not mad at that, man. I think that was a good signing. And like I said, it's just for backup. We'll see him compete and see where he fits in. But yeah, man, I think the biggest thing that happened this week was the surprise pressers with Josh McDaniels and Dave Ziegler. I just wanted to go over a couple quick hits that was going on in those pressers that were, they were worth noting. First, with starting off with Josh McDaniels' presser, he started off real quick with Devontae Adams, and he said that bringing him in was a football decision, more than a decision to please Carr and kind of bring somebody that he thought was a fit for Carr. He said that they really looked into everything and crossed their T's and dotted their I's before they pulled the trigger on that trade. And I think that once they got to meet or get to know who the player was in Devontae Adams, it was an easy decision. They were able to see why he's been that productive receiver and that number one receiver, the past couple years. So overall, it was great. I really like how Josh McDaniels is able to articulate his words. This time around as a head coach, he's very clear. I know that I was a fan of Gruden for sure, but I did get a little tired of the whole persona and the nostalgia and just that personality that he tried to sell, like in a lot of his interviews. And it's cool it's refreshing to see guys in the front office that are just buttoned up and straight to the point, and just answering all the questions correctly. That's it is what it is. They're just setting it straight. These are the expectations, and this is the process that they're going through to make sure that they're making these right decisions. And I enjoyed both of these pressers a lot. So another quick hit on Josh McDaniels was he felt that the O-line hasn't reached their ceiling yet, and he plans to coach them up, which is, with Brandon Parker, it's a little like, I don't know if he has more ceiling to go, based on what I've seen the past couple years. But hey, man, if I'm not a football coach, I'm not an offensive line coach. I know that if these guys think that, him and for sure, I know all of the rest of our line, I believe that they haven't reached their ceiling yet, and there's a lot of more development to be made on their behalf. But, this is what great coaches do, great coaches, they develop these players. You draft players that have a foundation of and a skill set that's able to fit your scheme, and you draft them so that way you can just coach them to put the finishing touches to where they're able to execute the way you want them to execute consistently. And that's what it is, man. And so, I still believe that we need depth at the offensive line position, but the fact that he's confident and he's confident in his coaches to help coach them up, man. I think that there is a lot more improvement that we can't see and we haven't got to see from these guys, especially guys like Andre James, Alex Leatherwood, Jermaine Illuminor, So these guys, I'm excited to see what he believes in, guys, and he has a little bit of history with Illuminor too. So you know, I'm excited to see where these guys can go. Because the offensive line needs to be buttoned up. We need to be ready for this pass rush that's coming up in the season, and the AFC West just got it only got more competitive over this offseason. So I like how McDaniels kind of touched on bringing Devontae. The wide receiver is kind of the hot position in the NFL. That's where people are willing to allocate their big bucks. And, you know, I'm happy that him and Ziegler were able to make that move to get their guy. So, like I said, if there's any, and then there's a lot of analysts that think this too. If there's any way you're gonna overpay somebody besides a quarterback and a pass rusher, it's gonna be a wide receiver. The mismatches are gonna be there, and the way the NFL has been going with the passing game, that you need to have that top guy. So, another thing he touched on was he's looking to keep versatile players on the offensive line. So he wants guys that can play left guard, right guard, left tackle, right tackle, and which is great because, man, you just don't know what's going to happen. You got to be ready at any time to, plug and play some of these guys. If somebody goes down, these big guys, when they get lower leg injuries and all that, it can be pretty gruesome, and pretty detrimental to your team if you don't have that depth. So, like I said, the versatility in the players that we have right now, I think it's great. I still think we need to add more depth, but I like that he's already got his mind in the right place, and he knows what he's doing, man. He was asked about the Raiders being, the Patriots of the West, and real quick, I love how he shut that down, and he told them this is all about the Raiders. This is all about the Raiders. It's all about a culture that they're trying to build there in Vegas, and furthermore, I like how he said it's on the players to make this culture. Because and all in all, man, the coaches can only do so much. These players got to take initiative. These players got to execute. These players got to be invested in what our front office is trying to do. So I like that. I think the players they see this. They see this, and if you're a great player, you're gonna love the accountability that's being brought on you, from your coach, and I'm just like I said, I like the way they were speaking, and the way they word everything. That I don't smell no bullshit, and I feel like he's coming at it correct, going into a new organization, touching up on how he's still building up these relationships with Alex Leatherwood, and some of these other players, and I think that's great. I think that players are going to be more open, and they're going to be a little more warm to something like that, something like that approach versus a guy who's just coming in here trying to just put his foot down. So everything looks good on paper, but before the presser closed for Josh McDaniels, he said something that hit, and he was like, there's going to be tough decisions and more tough decisions to come. So with that, more tough decisions to come, I am trying to figure out who we may move on from, because if you look at that 2019 draft class, we got Hunter Renfrow, we got Josh Jacobs, we got Jonathan Abram, we got Cleveland Ferrell, Max Crosby just got paid. You're not going to be able to pay all these guys, and I know that there was a report about Ziegler being a little upset that we had gotten rid of our second round pick from this year. He wanted to move he wanted to trade the first round from this year and the second round of 2023 for Devontae. It didn't work out, but I can definitely see Ziegler making a move either draft day or maybe a little bit before. We may see him make a move to get into that second round. It's just, who is he going to move? There's obviously the two players that would probably bring the most draft capital back is either Mullen or Darren Waller. I think Darren Waller can get you back into the first round if you were to move on from him. However, it seems a little redundant to do that if you bring in a guy like Devontae Adams to pair him up with a Waller, to pair him up with a Renfro, and then to also have a dynamic backfield with Kenyon Drake and Josh Jacobs. So I don't really see you know, the risk. I don't see the risk versus reward making sense in that regard because Darren Waller's a unique player, and I think that unfortunately he is the only player besides a Derek Carr trade that would put us in the first round. But I could see a Jonathan Abram Mullen package or with our third round pick to move like high into that second round. If a Kyer Elam kind of drops in the draft, I think that those are the things that could happen, So and like I said, I don't think you can pay all these guys. I think that some of the guys, I think Hunter Renfro is the only guy who's guaranteed to get paid. Regardless, there's going to be a big market for him if we don't decide to pay him. So I really hope that he's the priority out of all those guys. Second, I would probably say Josh Jacobs. But and then even I'm sure Waller's gonna want a raise pretty soon. He's gonna want a restructured contract or an extension. So we'll see. I think that him having a down year last year kind of pumps the brakes on that a little bit. I don't feel there's a really big need of urgency, but he's with Clutch Sports. You guys know how Clutch Sports really pushes to get their guys paid and to be more about the players. So we'll see. It's all up. But that's it for the Josh McDaniels. I want to just touch on the Dave Ziegler presser. He kind of touched or real quick on the Chandler Jones signing, and he pretty much confirmed that Chandler Jones was a priority. The pass, with how important the pass rush is. It was pretty much written that they were going to sign Chandler Jones and get rid of Yannick. Yannick must have not been a good fit for Patrick Graham's defense, and with him having a little bit of value, they decided to trade him, like pretty much a 1-for-1 for Rock Ya-Sin, and they were able to get rid of whatever was on Yannick's contract for Rock Ya-Sin. But he raved about Rock Ya-Sin and his development and how he paid attention to him while he was with the Patriots. So with Anthony Averett and Rock Ya-Sin and Mullen, man, that's up for grabs. Both cornerback positions. It's gonna be something to pay attention to during training camp. If Mullen is still with us, these guys are gonna be competing, man, and that's what it's about. It's about competing. It's about bringing the best out of these players. And nothing is guaranteed, man. Everybody gets a fresh slate. It's a new front office, and it could be bad for some. It could be refreshing for others. So it's all about taking advantage of those opportunities and making it shine. You're gonna have plenty of opportunities within training camp to earn that top spot. So Ziegler was sort of, he was asked, if he was ever nervous about at the beginning of free agency, when all these signings were kind of going down, particularly in the AFC West, and we were a little quiet that first day, and he really didn't budge, man. He said no. There was a certain amount of discipline and patience that they had to have, in order to make sure they didn't overpay or just make any type of impulsive decisions. And damn, did it pay off, man. And dude, like, I was nervous. I'll keep it real. I was like, man, Khalil Mack, JC Jackson, Russell Wilson going to the Broncos. I'm just like, fuck, dude, like, we got to start making these moves, man. We got to do a little something, because as of right now, nothing's happened. Then we got the Chandler Jones signing, which was big, and then with the Devontae Adams trade, that pretty much just almost made us, I mean, I would say maybe the Chargers did a little more. They probably had a little bit of a better uh, free agency with their additions, especially on that defense, but we're not making impulsive decisions. We're not doing something like what the Jags did with Christian Kirk, and I don't like that signing, even though I do like some of the other signings that the Jaguars made. I feel like it was a little, it was just a little too much for a guy who I don't think is really gonna take him over the top, So, like I said, man, these guys are doing their due diligence. They're staying patient. They're remaining disciplined, and I love it. I love it. I have a good feeling. Typically when things can kind of take a while to develop, and things could things could kind of just look a little weird. You kind of already start having a bad feeling about the season, and I don't feel like that with this front office. I feel like these guys know exactly what they're doing. These guys are studying the whole board, so these guys are well aware of all these guys in the first round and second round. They know exactly where they're at. So if there is a move that they may decide to make, they got everything that they need. So big I thought these were great pressers. You know, they're really disciplined, and like I said, they're buttoned up. They're not saying too much. When asked about Derek Carr's contract extension, they're not, things like that just got to stay in house. We're not going to be giving any info. We're not going to be saying too much. We're going to get that sweet spot, and who knows, it may be a little while before Carr gets his extension. It might be something that we make, post June, when some of these surprise cuts happen later in the off season. And I know extending Carr will free up some cap space, and maybe we're just waiting for that. And I just don't. I feel like there's not really a big sense of urgency of getting the contract done, which I can sort of disagree with, because I just feel like the market's just going up and up. You look at what Kirk Cousins got paid, fully guaranteed. You look at what Deshaun Watson got paid. These numbers are just going up. So I do think that we need to hurry up and do that, but I wouldn't be surprised if you don't see this contract extension come until, post June 1st. So we'll see. I love the vibe so far. I love the moves that we're making, and damn, I'm excited, man. So without any further ado, man, like, subscribe, comment, let me know what you guys think of the offseason moves. And let me know what other signings you feel like we should make. I know that Tyrann Mathieu is still out there. There's a report from Jordan Schultz that we have interest in him, which we knew. Everybody knows this. So I think that he's just waiting and trying to see where he's going to get the most money. And this is probably one of the last big contracts he's going to get. So I don't blame him. But yeah, man, go Raiders, Raider Nation for life. I'm out.